Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody can hear my voice and see this video. Is everybody able to hear me? You can respond through the chat window. Okay, excellent. So I think this is your first session with me, right? And we are all preparing for various management entrance examinations, if I'm not wrong. So just a brief introduction. My name is Satyanarayan. By graduation, I'm a computer engineer and I completed my master's in business administration. And I've been coaching students for various undergraduate and postgraduate entrance examinations for quite some time now, right? So some of the core areas in which I teach students include English, verbal reasoning, analytical reasoning, and so on and so forth. So that's pretty much about me. If I can just have a bit of information about you, you can type your information in the chat window. It will be visible only to me. So Jinal, if you can just tell me something about yourself. Akshat, I guess you can also type something about yourself because we have got enough time. So both of you can do it simultaneously. I can read it together, no problems. So just a little bit about your background, which stream you're from, which in which graduate stream you are, and why do you want to go in for management? Okay. Okay. Which college? Either one of you? Oh, okay. Excellent. And why do you want to go in for a management program at master's level? No answer from anybody. You're not sure why you want to go in for a management program at a master's level? Because that's one of the most common questions which will be asked in interviews whenever you're sitting for a management interview panel. Okay. Akshat, that's a very broad statement. You want to do business. Management, what has management studies to do with that? Okay. Fair enough. So let me just put it that whatever your motives, there are certain key skills which are required by all students when they have to get into management education, right? One of the key skills is the ability to work with numbers. A very important skill is the ability to read and interpret a lot of textual data. And the third is the ability to manage time, right? And that's why the entrance examination for most of B schools are designed in that fashion, where they would have a quantitative section, where they would have a verbal section, where they would have a reasoning section, and there would be a time constraint, and you will have to maximize your score in the minimum possible time. Now, the reason why English has started becoming more important is that now the world has started realizing that number crunching is an altogether different skill set, which is not necessarily the core for managers, right? There used to be a time when people used to think that if you're an MBA, then you must be a great number cruncher. So maths used to have a lot of importance in the question paper, a lot of weightage in the question paper. But then people started realizing that for managers, it is not just the ability to crunch numbers. There are other experts who can do that. But for managers, it is the ability to read and interpret a lot of written data, which is the most important skill. And hence, over the past decade and a half, we have seen a phenomenal shift in the entrance examination patterns where the focus has shifted from math centric papers to language centric papers, right? Math centric papers used to be favorable towards engineers and science students. But as and when it shifted, now they're trying to make the field more level. They're trying to make it more uniform for everybody, right? So although we still see a preponderance of uh, science background students or engineers getting into the different B schools in large numbers, but slowly and steadily we have seen people from other fields also breaking in. And that's because they've realized that managers are not just number crunchers. Managers also need to be people who can read and analyze a lot. And that's why the English section, which used to be just for namesake, a very easy section, has now evolved into something which is extremely tough, which is something very intelligent, so to say. There's a lot of critical analysis to be done in those things. There's a lot of thinking that you have to do. It's not just that you learn 1,500 words and you just practice 20 reading comprehension passages a day and you are done. No, you have to develop a certain style of thinking, right? It's not enough that you just read, but you have to read and understand and analyze whatever you are actively reading. So what I'm going to do today is we are going to start our session with verbal reasoning, right? Verbal reasoning is one of the smallest kind of questions which can substitute for reading comprehension. Now, I'm sure most of us have done reading comprehension where we were given large passages and from that you had to answer 8 to 10 questions, right? Verbal reasoning questions are similar, but they are just 4 to 5 lines long and there may be one or maximum 2 questions based on it. But there's a lot of thinking which needs to be done. So the general pattern which I recommend students follow is that don't read the questions, don't read the passage first. First read the question, because it all depends on what you're expected to do, the way you will read the passage. If you know that there is a certain thing that you're looking for in the passage, then when you're actually reading the passage, you will be actively looking for it, right? So first it is important that you read whatever is there. You read what the question is, what is expected to be done. Then you read the passage itself. Then you take and analyze each of the given options. Now, the biggest mistake that some students do is that they think that this is a place where only one question is right and one answer is right and the others are wrong. But that's not necessarily true, right? It's possible that more than one answer is right, but you cannot mark more than one answer. So in that case, you will have to analyze which ones are better than the others or which ones are worse than the others, and then take a calculated decision. You cannot simply read one answer, think that it fits the question and mark it. You have to go through each and every option and eliminate as many as possible to be sure that the final answer that you're going to mark is the right one. Are we together so far? Am I making sense? Okay, so let's take a look at a few questions. I'm going to put up the questions on the screen, right? Let's take a look at a few questions on the screen. And okay, is the screen visible now? Can you see the PPT on the screen? Okay, excellent. So what we are going to do is we're going to take the questions one by one. We're going to analyze them and then let's see. So here's the first question. It's given questions 1 to 2 are based on the following, right? But I don't want to read the passage first. What I'm going to do is first I'm going to read the question. And how do I identify which is the question? Simple. I go to the line just above the A, B, C, D, E options, right? More often than not, the line above the A, B, C, D, E options would be my question. So here, numerically, it is given 1. That is my question. The researcher's conclusion depends on the following assumptions. This is my question, right? The researcher's conclusion depends on which of the following assumptions. which means that the researcher has actually concluded something. Now, for his conclusion to be correct, which option is he relying on as an assumption? Take a look at the given passage now. A researcher discovered that people who have low levels of immune system activity tend to score much lower on tests of mental health than do people with normal or high immune system activity. The researcher concluded from this experiment that the immune system protects against mental illness as well as against physical disease. Now go through the options and say which one will be the best possible answer to say that this is the assumption on which the researcher is basing his conclusion. Now remember guys, whichever answer you think, you will have to justify that answer to me. Yes guys, any progress? Chalo, let's take it one by one. You have to say that the researcher's conclusion depends on what? The researcher is concluding that the immune system protects against mental as well as physical disease, right? Okay. Now the first option says high immune system activity protects against mental illness better than normal immune system activity. Does the entire passage ever talk about the difference between high and normal? No. If you talk about the passage, the comparison is between high and low, right? They are never talking about normal anywhere. So A is relatively eliminated. B. Mental illness is similar to physical disease in its effects on the body system. Okay. How does this tell me that immune system protects against mental illness? This only talks about how mental and physical diseases have same effects. It does not talk about how immune system protects. So B is not my answer. C says people with high immune system activity cannot develop mental illness. Now, isn't that too much of a stretch? Too much of assumption to do anything, right? He's concluding that immune system protects against mental illness and physical disease. But this claim that high immune system cannot develop mental disease is too far-fetched an assumption. Now, mental illness does not cause people's immune system activity to decrease. Well, if mental illness does not cause people's immune system activity to decrease, that means people's immune system activity is not affected. That means it is resistant against mental illness. So possibly we can say that because mental illness does not cause immune system to decrease, that means immune system may be the reason which is that we are being protected against mental illness. Maybe, right? Let's check the last option. Psychological treatment of mental illness is not effective as medical treatment. Where does psychological treatment come in between? No mention of that in the passage. Too far-fetched. So the best possible option is definitely D. So even it seems very random, right? Even when you're reading it, if it seems very random, don't get too bothered by it, right? Just read it step by step, eliminate anything which is out of context, and you will directly land up. Even without understanding 100%, you can easily find out what the correct answer is by the process of elimination. Did we understand this example so far? Okay, next one. Same thing. The researcher's conclusion would be most seriously weakened if it is true. In the previous one, we wanted the assumption that supported the conclusion. Here, same passage, but now we want the option which is going to weaken his conclusion. Yes, guys. Not exactly, Akshita. See, let's again take a look at it. First option says there was a 1 year delay between the completion of pilot study for experiment and initiation of experiment. Those are just details of the experiment. Even if it was delayed, that does not necessarily mean that the results were wrong. So A, not necessarily my answer. If the second says people's level of immune system activity are not affected by the use of medication. This does not help me establish a link between immune system and mental illness. So B is eliminated. Third, a few people with high immune system activity had scores on the test of mental health that were similar to the score of people who had normal. Again, the comparison is between high and low in the passage. Normal immune system has never been discussed, right? That says, no, in fact, normal or high are taken as the same group, right? You cannot compare high and normal. High and normal are the same thing. So C is not my answer. People who have low immune system activity tend to contract more viral infections than do people with normal or high immune system activity. Okay. But how does that talk about immune system and mental illness? This is talking about viral infections which are physical in nature. So not necessarily my answer. Okay, take a look at it. It says high levels of stress first cause mental illness and then cause decreased immune system activity. Okay, so if stress is the common factor which causes both mental illness and decreased immune system, that means immune system cannot be protecting against mental illness because it itself is being affected by high levels of stress. So best possible answer in this case is definitely E. Did we get the analysis? Others? Jinal? Akshat? Did you get it? Don't worry. With a little bit of practice, you will slowly start understanding how to break down the questions, the options, and move ahead. Let's take a few more examples. Which of the following, if true, would most strengthen the conclusion drawn above? A very typical management type question. Come on, guys. Are we done? Chalo. It says which of the following, if true, would most strengthen the conclusion, right? So first I have to identify what is the conclusion made in the passage and then which option actually makes it strong. Okay. The value of a product is determined by the ratio of its quality to its price. A simple mathematical equation is given, right? So higher the value of the product, better will be the competitive position, right? The value of V, if it is high, then in the market it has a good position. Now, how do I increase the value of V? Simple, either increase the quality or lowering the price. If I increase the numerator, the overall value goes up, or if I decrease the denominator, then also overall value goes up. So in either case, increasing the quality or lowering the price of the given product will increase the likelihood that consumer will select that product rather than a competing one. That means by changing either Q or P, there is a higher chance that the consumer is going to use my product. That means what? Ultimately, it is the value of the product which the consumer wants. Chalo, let's take a look at the options. It is possible to increase both quality and price of a product without changing its competitive position. But the conclusion is that the consumer will select the product when its value increases. Why should I not be changing its competitive position? I want the competitive position to change so that the consumer purchases it. So A is not my answer. For certain segments of the population of consumers, higher priced brands of some product lines are preferred to lower priced brands. Well, actually we are talking about lowering the price and or increasing the quality, not about luxury products with higher price, right? That is not helping me prove my conclusion. So B is eliminated. Competing products often try to appeal to different segments of population of consumers. Again, it's an irrelevant discussion. We are trying to say that when the value changes, consumer will buy me. So why should I care about competing products? The competitive position of a product can be affected by such factors as advertising and brand loyalty. No, we are sticking with the equation V is equal to Q upon P. So all this is extraneous information, totally useless. Consumers' perception of quality of a product are based on the actual quality of the product. Well, that is pretty true, right? Because it clearly says increase the quality or decrease the price, then the consumer will purchase me rather than a competitor, which means he does look at the quality of the product to understand the actual value, the actual quality of the product. So best possible option here is definitely E. Did we get it? Guys, don't be afraid, don't get dejected if you're not understanding it, right? Chalo, excellent. Don't worry. Jinal, what? No is what? You did not understand this? Jinal, did you understand this? Now, Jinal, you should never use any information which is outside the purview of what is given, right? Now, at any point of time, does the passage talk about dilution of quality because of lowering of price? In fact, it is very clear. It very clearly says value is Q upon P. So it says either increase Q or decrease P. It never says that there is a perception that there is a dilution of quality because of lower price. That is outside the purview of the passage. It is not given. So we cannot assume that within the passage for the answers. Chalo, good. Moving on. Next one. Which of the following, if true, best explains the sharp rise in the average price of new houses? basic fundamental of math to be used in this one. Yes. Why, Akshita? It's not enough to select an answer. You'll also have to defend it. Why do you think C is the answer? Okay. So, see. In January, there was a large drop in the number of new houses sold because interest rates for mortgages were falling and many consumers were waiting to see how low the rates would go. This large sales drop was accompanied by a sharp rise in the average price of the new houses sold. Right? Overall number of जो houses थे वो कम बिके, लेकिन जितने भी घर बिके उनका एवरेज प्राइस अगर निकालो तो वो ज़्यादा हो गया. Right? Although less houses were sold, the average price per house was more. Mathematically, what that could mean? Which of the following, if true, best explains the sharp rise in the average price of new houses? Sales of higher priced houses were unaffected by the sales drop because their purchasers have fewer constraints limiting the total amount they pay. Makes sense. See, totally, first let's assume that there were three houses, 1, 2 and 3. The first house was 5,000, second house was 5,000, and the last house was, let us say, 100,000, right? So overall, what was the average price? So overall, the average price would have been 110 divided by 3. So 110 divided by 3 would be 33 point something आसपास. चलो. Now, supposing fewer houses were sold, सस्ते वाले घर बिके ही नहीं, लेकिन जो महंगा वाला घर है वो बिका. तो overall, what was the average of the houses sold? The average price of the houses sold now became 100, right? From the same three houses, only the expensive house was sold. That means the average price per house is now actually going to go up. Why? Because the expensive houses are being sold and the cheap ones are not. So A makes sense, but I will not mark it before I check the other options. Labor agreement of builders with construction unions are not due to expire, makes no sense. Price of new house have been rising slowly over the past 3 years because there's an increasing shortage of housing. Look at it. This says prices have been rising slowly. I have to explain a sharp rise in the price. Two opposite things. C gives you an explanation of slow rise in price, whereas the question asks you to explain a fast rise in price. C cannot be my answer. There was a great amount of moderate pricing house available for resale by owners during January than in the preceding 3 months. Again, does not explain why suddenly there was a sharp increase in the average price. And interest rates for homegate are expected to rise sharp later. Well, this is going to happen in the future, but our price rise has already taken place. So E cannot be my answer. So best possible option, definitely A. To get that simple mathematical principle of averages. Did everybody get it? Okay. Next one. Yes, guys. हेलो. हम्म.
આયુષ શર્મા
હમ.
કરીને એક સ્ટુડન્ટ છે એનું જો મેં આપણે વોટ્સએપ ગ્રુપમાં એને મેસેજ જોઈ એટલે તમારા ગ્રુપમાં એ એડિડ છે કે નથી?
આયુષ શર્મા.
હા ડબલ એ વાયની વચ્ચે અરે એસ એસ
આયુષ શર્મા. આ છે ને એને લેટેસ્ટ ગાવું પણ છે.
ગયું પણ છે
એક સેકન્ડ.
કયું કીધું ઓકે
રિસીવ
દેખાતું
રિસીવ થયું છે એ ચેક કરી લો.
હા
બ્લુ ટિક્સ નથી એમાં.
અચ્છા બ્લૂટૂથ નથી
આપણી તરફથી ગયા બધા મેસેજીસ છે, ડબલ ટિક્સ છે પણ બ્લુ ટિક્સ નથી.
અચ્છા
હમ.
હા ઓકે સર ઓકે
હમ. Yes, guys. Chalo. The simultaneous action provision of the treaty leaves open the possibility that, okay, so there is some provision in some treaty, and because of this provision, what is possible is what they're asking for. Chalo. 7 countries signed a treaty binding each of them to perform specified actions on a certain fixed date, with the action of each conditional on simultaneous action taken by the other country. Each country was also to notify the 6 other countries when it had completed its action. So, what is this simultaneous action provision? That all of the 7 countries have to do some action together, and my performance of the activity depends on the performance of all the other 6 people. So, each one of them is dependent on the other, and only when all of them complete it together, then the act can get completed. Right? That's what this is. So, because of this condition, what is possible? Let's take a look at it. The compliance date was subject to postponement according to terms of the treaty. Why would simultaneous action lead to postponement? Makes no sense. One of the countries might not be required to make any changes or take any step in order to comply with the treaty, whereas all the other countries are so required. No, it says all the countries are required. Why one of the country might not be required? Makes no sense. Each country might have a well-founded excuse based on the provision for its own lack of compliance. Well, this does make sense because the provision itself says that every country's action depends on the others. So each country can say, I did my part, but it was not possible to do because others did not do their part. That's why it seems incomplete. Right? So every country gets an excuse why it did not comply. So this possibly could be my answer. The treaty specified that signal for one of the countries to initiate action was notification by other countries that they had completed action. No, all of them had to do it together. There was ambiguity with respect to date, nothing related to date. So, best possible answer definitely C. Yes, Geenal, got it right. Very good. Others, did you understand this now? Chalo. Discrepancy means there is some difference between what is there and what you expect. Something which is unexplained. Something which seems erroneous. Discrepancy, difference. Yes, guys. Are you getting it? Yes. Genial, very good. You're now starting to get it. Excellent. What about the others, guys? Okay. So, which of the following, if true, would explain the discrepancy described above? A mile post, right? Mile post is these symbols with there on the highway. It read 21 on the side facing the hiker. There's a hiker. Hiker is going this direction. So 21 on the side facing the hiker as she approached it, and 23 on the back. She reasoned that the next milepost forward on the path would indicate she was halfway between one end of the path and the other. She thought this would be 22. But the milepost 1 mile further on read 20 facing her and 24 behind her, right? Instead of 22, it worked out as 20 and 24. She thought it would be 22 on both ends, but it was 20 and 24. So why is this discrepancy? Now don't even look at the options, think about it. She thinks 21 के बाद 22 आएगा. Means what? She thinks that the milepost is showing how much distance she has already travelled. लेकिन 21 के बाद अगर 20 आता है, it means it is actually showing कि कितना ट्रैवल करना बाकी है. लॉजिकली तो वही हो सकता है, राइट? माइलपोस्ट अगर बढ़ते जाता है, इट मीन्स हाउ मच डिस्टेंस इज ऑलरेडी ट्रैवल्ड. लेकिन अगर माइलपोस्ट साइन कम होते जाता है, इट मीन्स इतना हम ऑलरेडी ट्रैवल कर चुके हैं. सो इट्स नॉट एज इफ द नंबर्स आर रिवर्स्ड. It has nothing to do with kilometers or miles, but the facing numbers indicate miles to the end of the path, not miles from the beginning. It's not that a milepost is missing, and चाहे biker के लिए या hiker के लिए हो, numbers तो same ही होने चाहिए. So best possible option, definitely C. Did everybody get this one? Okay. Try this one. Yes. Explain things in Hindi. Akshat, I can try, but this subject itself is English, right? I'll try to introduce a little bit of Hindi in between, but jitna ho sake you'll have to try to understand in English because the paper is going to be in English. Okay. The pilot's objection is most strengthened if which of the following is true. पायलट कोई ऑब्जेक्शन कर रहे हैं, राइट? कुछ तो है पायलट कर रहे कि नो वी डोंट वांट दिस, तो उनका जो ऑब्जेक्शन है उसको स्ट्रेंथ, उसको ताकत किससे मिलेगी, राइट? उनको सपोर्ट कहाँ से मिलेगा? चलो लेट्स टेक अ लुक एट द पैसेज. एयरलाइंस क्या बोलते हैं? न्यूली डेवलप्ड collision avoidance systems, although not fully tested to discover potential malfunctions, must be installed immediately in passenger planes. Their mechanical warnings enable pilots to avoid crashes. एक नया सिस्टम डेवलप किया गया है जो कोलिजन अवॉइडेंस है. कोलिजन मीन्स जो प्लेन्स हवा में टकरा रहे हैं उसको अवॉइड करने के लिए एक नया सिस्टम बनाया गया है. अब इस सिस्टम को पूरी तरह टेस्ट नहीं किया गया है, राइट? लेकिन पूरी तरह टेस्ट ना करने के बावजूद जो एयरलाइंस हैं वो कहते हैं कि उनको इमीडिएटली पैसेंजर प्लेन्स में इंस्टॉल करना ज़रूरी है क्योंकि उनके वार्निंग से पायलट क्रैश अवॉइड कर सकते हैं. पायलट्स क्या बोलते हैं? पायलट्स कहते हैं कि वी विल नॉट फ्लाई इन प्लेन विद कोलिजन अवॉइडेंस सिस्टम दैट आर नॉट फुल्ली टेस्टेड बिकॉज मैल फंक्शनिंग सिस्टम कुड मिसलीड पायलट्स कॉजिंग क्रैशेस. पायलट बोलते हैं जब तक सिस्टम को पूरी तरह टेस्ट ना किया जाए हम उसको यूज़ नहीं करेंगे, राइट? सो हमें पायलट का सपोर्ट देना है. इट इज़ ऑलवेज पॉसिबल फॉर मैकेनिकल डिवाइस टू मैल फंक्शन. वेल हाँ, ये तो बहुत ही जनरल स्टेटमेंट है. एक मैकेनिकल डिवाइस माल फंक्शन करेगा तो इससे पायलट को सपोर्ट कैसे मिलता है कि वो ये सिस्टम यूज़ नहीं करेंगे? इट डज नॉट ग्रेटली हेल्प देम इन एनी वे. इट इज़ वेरी न्यूट्रल टाइप स्टेटमेंट. बी, jet engines, although not fully tested when first put to use, have achieved exemplary performance and safety records. कहता है कि जेट इंजन्स को पहली बार जब यूज़ में लाया गया था तो उन्हें पूरी तरह टेस्ट नहीं किया गया था, लेकिन फिर भी आज वो एकदम सेफ्टी रिकॉर्ड्स में अव्वल नंबर पे हैं. तो ये तो पायलट के खिलाफ हो गया कि बिना टेस्ट किए सिस्टम अगर एकदम अच्छे हो सकते हैं तो ये तो पायलट के आर्ग्यूमेंट के खिलाफ है कि वो यूज़ नहीं करेंगे. तो बी आंसर नहीं हो सकता. Although collision avoidance system will enable pilots to avoid some crashes, the likely malfunction of the not fully tested system will cause even more crashes. कहते हैं जो collision avoidance system डालेंगे उससे कुछ क्रैश तो शायद कम होंगे, लेकिन उनको टेस्ट नहीं किया गया है जिसकी वजह से ज़्यादा माल फंक्शन हो सकता है और जितने क्रैश वो रोकेंगे उससे ज़्यादा वो क्रैश करवाएंगे, राइट? 2 क्रैश को रोक के 5 क्रैश करवाया तो सिस्टम बिल्कुल फायदे का नहीं है. दैट मीन्स सी कुड बी माई आंसर. डी क्या कहता है? मेनी एयरलाइन कोलिजन्स आर कॉज्ड इन पार्ट बाय एग्जॉस्शन ऑफ ओवरवर्क्ड पायलट्स. फिर पायलट्स ये चाहते हैं कि नए सिस्टम को यूज़ ना करें. अब वो थके हुए हैं, उसका पूरे क्वेश्चन के साथ क्या लेना देना? नथिंग. Collision avoidance system at this stage of development appear to have worked better in passenger planes than ये passenger plane, cargo plane, पूरे इसके अंदर कहीं पे भी इन सब की बात नहीं है, राइट? सो इसका कोई लेना देना नहीं है. सो बेस्ट पॉसिबल ऑप्शन हैज़ टू बी सी. डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड इट सो फार? ओके, next one. Which of the following investigation is most likely to yield significant information that would help to evaluate the researcher's hypothesis? Hypothesis is what? A hypothesis is a statement of an experiment which is to be proved through the experiment. So here the researcher is actually guessing. He is making some assumption. He's saying that this is the reason for something. So which experiment will help you prove that he is right? What is the experiment that he should do to prove that he is right? Yes, Jinal. So it says guitar strings often go dead, become less responsive and bright in tone after a few weeks of intense use. कुछ हफ्ते एकदम ज़ोरदार यूज़ करने के बाद जो गिटार के स्ट्रिंग्स होते हैं, तार होते हैं, वो मर जाते हैं, यानी कि उनकी आवाज़ की क्वालिटी कम हो जाती है. A researcher whose son is a classical guitarist hypothesized that dirt and oil, rather than change in the material property of the string, were responsible. तो रिसर्चर जिसका बेटा एक गिटारिस्ट है वो कहता है कि स्ट्रिंग के मटेरियल में कोई फ़र्क होने से कुछ नहीं होता है, लेकिन गिटार के तार पे जो डर्ट, तेल, कचरा, तेल, ये सब जो जम जाते हैं उसकी वजह से प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. सो अगर आपको ये डिसाइड करना है कि इसका ये जो गैस कर रहा है वो सही है, क्या एक्सपेरिमेंट करोगे? ही इज सेइंग दैट कचरा, तेल, इन सब के लगने से द क्वालिटी चेंजेस. स्मियरिंग मीन्स चिपकाना, लाइक घिसना. तेल, स्ट्रिंग पे आप तेल रगड़ते हो, दैट इज स्मियरिंग. या होली पे एक दूसरे के गाल पे जो हम गुलाल लगाते, दैट इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड स्मियरिंग. Right? So obviously, if you think that oil and grease are responsible, then what should be your experiment? Your experiment is you should apply different substances on the guitar and check. That's it. The only option which supports that is E. Right? It's not about metal alloys. बाकी चारों ऑप्शन देख लो, कोई लेना देना नहीं है. रिसर्चर बोल रहा है कि चीज़ों के लगने से, ऑयल और ग्रीस जैसे चीज़ों के लगने से गिटार की स्ट्रिंग की क्वालिटी ख़राब हो रही है. तो एक्सपेरिमेंट में हम क्या करेंगे? ऑब्वियसली ऑयल एंड ग्रीस जैसी चीज़ें लगा के चेक करेंगे. सो ऑप्शन ई, बेस्ट पॉसिबल आंसर. एज सिंपल एज दैट. यस. चलो नेक्स्ट वन. Yes, guys. Which of the following, if true, casts most doubt on the claim that most consumers get little use out of the sports equipment that purchase? ऑप्शंस में से कौन सा अगर सही है तो उसका मतलब तो कास्ट डाउट यानी कि इट सेज दैट जो कंज्यूमर्स अपने स्पोर्ट्स इक्विपमेंट का इस्तेमाल नहीं कर पाते हैं वो गलत है. यू हैव टू प्रूव दैट द क्लेम दैट कंज्यूमर्स अपने स्पोर्ट्स इक्विपमेंट का पूरी तरह से इस्तेमाल नहीं कर पाते वो गलत है. चलो, मोस्ट कंज्यूमर्स डू नॉट गेट मच यूज आउट ऑफ द स्पोर्ट्स इक्विपमेंट दे परचेस. कहते हैं कि जितने कंज्यूमर्स हैं वो जो स्पोर्ट्स इक्विपमेंट खरीदते हैं उसका इस्तेमाल नहीं कर पाते. फॉर एग्जाम्पल 17% ऑफ अडल्ट इन यूएस ओन जॉगिंग शूज बट ओनली 45% ऑफ ओनर्स जॉग मोर देन वंस अ ईयर एंड ओनली 17% जॉग मोर देन वंस अ वीक. टोटल यूएस में जो अडल्ट हैं उसमें से 17% के पास जॉगिंग शूज हैं, लेकिन उन 17% में से 45% साल में सिर्फ एक बार जॉगिंग करते हैं और बाकी 17% सिर्फ हफ्ते में एक बार से ज़्यादा जॉगिंग करते हैं. तो इसका मतलब है कि वो जूतों का इस्तेमाल ही नहीं होता है. वी हैव टू प्रूव दैट दिस इज रॉन्ग, राइट. क्योंकि इतने कम लोग जॉगिंग कर रहे हैं उसका मतलब है जॉगिंग शूज़ का इस्तेमाल ही नहीं हो रहा है. ये हमें गलत साबित करना है. Joggers are more susceptible means prone, right? Joggers are more susceptible to sports injuries during the first 6 months in which they jog. What has this to do with they are not able to use their shoes? Nah. Joggers often exaggerate the frequency with which they jog in surveys. Nah. अगर वो ज़्यादा बोल रहे हैं तो how are we saying that कम यूज़ हो रहा है? Nah. Many consumers purchase jogging shoes for use in other activities than jogging. हाँ, ये जो डेटा है वो सिर्फ उनके जॉगिंग डेटा को लेके बोल रहा है कि वो यूज़ नहीं कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जो जॉगिंग शूज़ हैं अगर वो दूसरी चीज़ों में इस्तेमाल होता है तो इक्विपमेंट तो यूज़ ही हो रहा है ना. तो सी कुड बी माई आंसर. Consumers who take up jogging often purchase athletic shoes that can be used in other sports. Nah. Joggers who jog more than a week are often active participants in other sports. Again, it does not talk anything about use of particular equipment. So best possible answer definitely has to be C. Are we together, guys? समझ में आया? Okay. So I'm going to end the questions here. Just a couple of words of advice in terms of preparation now. One thing which you would have definitely realized is that two qualities are extremely important when you want to crack questions of these type. One, you need to be able to read a lot at quick speed, and second, you need to understand the meaning of many words. The one single common इलाज इन दोनों चीज़ों के लिए is start reading. Read newspapers, read magazines, read online blogs, novels, कुछ भी पढ़ो, लेकिन मिनिमम दिन में 1-1.5 घंटा कुछ एक्स्ट्रा पढ़ने की आदत डालो. अगर ये एक्स्ट्रा पढ़ने की आदत डालोगे तो 1, आपका रीडिंग स्पीड इम्प्रूव होता जाएगा. सेकंड, आपकी वोकैबुलरी अच्छी होती जाएगी, क्योंकि आपने भी देखा होगा इन कितने सारे क्वेश्चंस में ऐसे स्पेसिफिक वर्ड्स होंगे जिनका अगर आपको मीनिंग नहीं पता then you will stumble, you will not be able to complete the question itself, right? So guys, starting today as a daily homework, I want you to start reading at least 1 to 1.5 hours every day. It could be a novel, it could be a magazine, it could be anything, but it has to be a daily exercise. It is said that good managers read about 60 books a year, right? That is about 5 books a month, or at least 1 book a week. and it is about 3 to 400 pages books that we're talking about, not those chota 10-12 book pages wale. So guys, that's pretty much the end of the session for today. अगर आपको कोई डाउट्स हैं, कोई क्वेश्चंस हैं, कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं, then you can ask. Else, if you are done for the day, then you may exit the session. Stay home, stay safe. If any doubts, you can hang around and ask. List of books to be read. Okay, I'll share that with Chandni ma'am. She'll forward it to you. Sure.